Going on, guys? A little different style video today. Today is the 2-year anniversary of Hurricane Ian, a day and an event that changed my life forever and the lives of Southwest Florida forever. Now, there's a lot of footage and a lot of stories I can tell, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet by bringing some footage pre-storm and then during storm and then after the storm, and give some background, some details behind everything that we faced. Now, I'm not the guy to say that, I knew this was going to happen, but I did have a lot of things leading up to that fall happen, and just like I had this gut feeling in my prayer time that something bad was going to happen some point in that year, and I didn't know what. We also joked when we saw the hurricane list of names. We saw Ian was on there, and that's the name of my middle brother. So we thought, it'd be funny if Ian, whatever, haha. But just leading up to that fall, we had prepped for hurricanes we had never done before, and it was very interesting leading up to the week leading into September 28th. So that Sunday, we had seen that the storm was supposed to hit Tampa. So thankfully, we have a family friend that they're seasonal. They let us use their home in the event of hurricanes. They live out in Fort Myers, kind of deep away from all the water, which is such a blessing. We're super thankful for them. We started moving stuff over there, and then Monday rolled around and it started moving more east. And Tuesday moved around, it was even more east, and to the point where on Tuesday we closed our clinic down early to have everyone prepare for the storm. So we rushed back to the house. We board up the windows. We're putting all the stuff away downstairs. Again, we're thinking, okay, probably a couple feet of water. Let's just put it up a little high. That's what all the reports were. And so we're like, well, we're definitely going to get out of the house. We need to go. But something was telling me as this was going on, and I really do believe this was God kind of talking to me a little bit, saying, this is going to be an integral day. This is going to be a very important day in your life. You need to record this. You need to remember this for the rest of your life. So that's what I did. So I started recording various areas around the island because my heart really felt like there was a chance this was all going to look different. And so I just went to various locations, and this was basically these were the last stops that Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening, before the hurricane would come and hit. So with the wind picking up and the waves starting to kick in and the rain starting to, come down, we made our journey over to Fort Myers, and then the next morning the storm hit, and we were safe. We were fine where we were, but that was one of the longest days of my life. But I can only imagine what it was like for the people on Sanibel, for the people in Fort Myers Beach, Pine Island. We were just praying for them during this whole time. And we still had friends that were out on the island, and so we were, reaching out to them. And suddenly we had no communication with them, and suddenly there was no communication with anybody. We could only send off an occasional SMS text. No phone calls could go through, so we were kind of radio silence for a while, which was really spooky. We still got the impact from the wind, which was really, really intense. And thankfully they didn't really have much damage to their home, aside from some trees and some roof stuff. Nothing crazy though. But definitely could feel the force of everything as it was going by. So as this is all going, we're trying to check social media and whatever to get updates, and we were just seeing these pictures from cameras and from different people on the island. This was from one of my friends that stayed on the island. I mean, just insane storm surge. Like the storm would never end. And that night was so eerie because we didn't know what was going to happen next. And the next morning, seeing the aftermath. This is from Fort Myers Beach, from somebody that's walking around there. I mean, just it looked like a bomb went off. One of the things that we had found out that following morning through a couple different sources was the Sanibel Causeway was down, and like, well, that's not good. That was definitely going to change a lot of things for us, recovery wise. But as you see some of this footage, just like terrifying. We eventually found out that our friends there were safe, and about a week later, we were finally cleared to go back on the island. So we had to reach out to various fishing captains and water taxis to get over there. This is our first voyage back, October 5th, 1 week after the hurricane. And this is just kind of the remnant, the remains of the island. Everything looks so dead, everything so just destroyed and barren. It was so sad. So this was part of our first journey. This was the beach closest to our house. And so me and my folks got onto the beach. Thankfully, we were all packed up and ready to go. We had a bunch of gear with us to prep for a big cleanup. This is just the first sign of how strong the storm surge was. It literally made like ravines in the beach and took out where the boardwalk sat too, which was just crazy to me. This is the hotel that's right on the beach, right by our house. As you can see, it did not do super well. One of the things that I'll always remember from this is just the random and various things that we would find, because stuff was just disheveled everywhere, and people's lives just strewn about all over the place. And that muck that you see there, that was such an underrated part of everything here. It was so slippery. It was like a mix of like toxic like waste and ocean floor and debris, and there were reports of people having fallen and broken their arms from it. So that was something we had to watch out for. This was kind of our commute, walking from the beach to the house, and then there's the boardwalk that had washed up down the road. The sign leading up to the road. Now we're starting to get to neighbors' homes. There's the boardwalk again, just crazy. And then walking up to our street, just finding the random things. Those little blue bags were from the hotel nearby. They just been everywhere. Same with they had a bunch of chairs and stuff. And then up to the house. And this was super, super emotional, obviously. All the stuff scattered about everywhere. There was our downstairs. Those were breakaway walls. They broke open, thankfully. But there's all the stuff. All about. The kayak paddles did stay somehow, which is crazy. There's the water line, which was about 10 feet. The AC was shot. Thankfully, we got that back the following February. Our beer fridge downstairs made it to the front. We had neighbors come out and talk to us. You can see the muck. Front porch, and there's all the stuff. And that was crazy. It was just going through all the stuff. So during the storm and post-storm, we never really had a confirmation how our house was. We had a drone that we had seen go around, and we didn't know. But this was our first confirmation that we still had a home. And by the grace of God, we still had a home. This golf ball that's on the tee there did not move at all. And that was like the first sign of like, oh my gosh, this house is stable. It's okay. I had written that verse on one of the boards up against the window in our kitchen. And that verse really got us through the storm and through all the aftermath from it. It reads, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And that was just such a huge thing this entire time. It was like, don't be anxious, don't be worried. When, obviously, I have so many things to be worried about, but God gave us that peace. God gave us this like overwhelming peace during this time that, hey, it's gonna be okay. Yeah, it sucks. This is horrible, but He gave us the peace. He gave us the strength to really attack this and go through this. And as a family, we got closer in our faith. We got closer with God, and with our neighbors, we got closer too, which was super super cool. Um, yeah, that's when the work really started. We really had to dig in. That was the first thing we said. Let's let's clean out all this muck. So we got rid of all the muck. And that was kind of the first day, and then we had subsequent trips following after, going out to the island and doing work on the house basically. So as we were doing our cleanup and fixing, so was the state, the county, the city, the causeway getting repaired here. It was crazy that first Causeway Island had actually gotten cut in half, and so they were having to repair that too. But shout out to Governor DeSantis. He booked it in overdrive and really got the funds and the people in the right places to get everything done ASAP. It was crazy how quickly everything was done. The second day, my boss and some of my coworkers went out and paid for the trip actually, which was really sweet. But we actually toasted from the fridge. The beers and drinks were still cold, which was great. But they helped us lift some of the heavy duty stuff. My dad's trike's still working. There's my boss. On the way there. This was a picture he'd found with glasses completely moved at all. But then some places were completely just disheveled and completely just torn to shreds. And so that was where our big thing was. All right, let's get the stuff out on the road for the big collector trucks to take everything. And so my dad did awesome doing the dirty work, so to speak. We even found a giant waste bin in the trees. That was the thing. So many crazy things you'd find in the trees. You have to have some fun while you do it, though. We found a laundry hamper. And so there's Cody and Andrew, and they're running away. We were so thankful to have these people in our lives to help us during this time of need, and we had so many other people help us in other ways, and yeah, we really, really felt very fortunate, very blessed. Even with all the circumstances, we really felt we were grateful for everything. Boat doing a little trick up there this is one of our boat rides back, and I've never been so happy in my life to see a semi-truck cross a bridge before, but that was one of the first trucks to make it over the island with the causeway reconstruction. That was just a few weeks after the hurricane, which was just insane. One of the things that was really fun, one of our close friends is a contractor out on the island, and he let us borrow an ATV on one of the days. So he had to get around place to place to check everything out, and all his homes and everything he had to look at. And so my dad and I cruised around on it when he wasn't there. He said, "Hey, just go ahead and use it," and it really gave us a chance to go around the island and also talk to some of our friends that were working on their homes, and also give people rides and stuff like that. Because again, cars weren't on the island yet. It was just a couple of trucks here and there for the first couple, and then eventually they allowed it for residents to go on. But it gave us a really intimate look at the island and all the different things. Seeing the cars on the side of the road, Jeeps. I had that exact same Jeep, so that one hit me in the core pretty rough. Dumpster made it all the way into the trees there, which is crazy. especially along the Gulf side, West Gulf Drive, East Gulf Drive, that whole section. They had the worst surge by far. So even though we were still going out by boat, my dad and I one weekend wanted to stay the night. So we came on Saturday. Normally it was you leave by like 9 or 10. You'd get there by like 10, 11. And then you have to leave by 3 to go back to beat the storms. But we decided, hey, let's stay the night, Saturday night, and then we'll come back Sunday all together. And that Saturday night, it poured down rain. It was the first really bad rainstorm we'd had since the hurricane. And it flooded so bad. And so we were going through the flood waters through that ATV, and there's more footage from West Gulf Drive area. But it literally looked like a canal as we were driving down. It was crazy. But this is, I mean, let it speak for itself. This home belongs to one of our friends. They own a small business on the island, and somebody's roof had literally come off and rammed into their house. Believe it or not, they actually had to pay for it themselves. The city wouldn't help them, or the state even, which is crazy to me. This home had burned down by a Tesla. A Tesla battery had caught fire and went kaboom. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is a house on Rabbit Road, and it's a tale of resilience, but also of the house isn't going to be used in a long time either. It was kind of a both sides kind of thing. There's the gas station. There's a nice little video shot, action shot of my dad with the ATV, with the American flag, with all the mud on it. More battery fires. This is from the Dune golf course. A lot of the golf carts caught fire. This home, they'd said a tornado probably hit it. And then there's the causeway back open video, or post. FDOT, this was the original causeway. And this is our first actual voyage, our first actual trip driving up the causeway. It was very, very, very bizarre, I will say. It was super bizarre. You had a checkpoint you had to go through. You had a hurricane pass, you had to show the pass. And then after that too, you also had to, a lot of times you had to show like your ID and show that, hey, you're a Sanibel resident, because there was a lot of looting. That was something that I was not expecting, not prepared for. There were a lot of people that would come out on the island dressed up as contractors or dressed up as whatever, and would go in and just, take whatever. One of our neighbors on the other side of on a different street, one over, their stairs had gotten washed away, and they're using a ladder to get in and out of their home. And one day they went to their house, and their ladder was completely gone, so they had to find another ladder to get into their house, which is horrible. But that just goes to show, like, a lot of people were trying to monopolize and take advantage of people during this time, which is just really, really, really sad. And then, obviously, this was a super emotional drive. That first trip over, and everything looked so. Somebody said it really well. This hurricane turned everything into fall. Just all of a sudden, it just snapped, and then everything was brown. Everything looked dead. Kind of reminiscent of like up north fall kind of things. And then you just look at the mangrove islands, and they're all just dead. They're all so sad. It's like as if the storm itself wasn't hard, as if everything else that comes with it wasn't bad enough, but just everything looked so brown and looked so depressing. So you had that kind of back and forth battle of like being optimistic and hopeful and happy and excited. Oh, we're making change. Oh, the bridge is open. But then you look at it and you're like, oh, there's just so much more to do. Gosh, look at this, look at that. So that really, that took a lot of prayer and a lot of difficult conversations and processing things for sure. to this day, even this day the video is coming out, the causeway is still not back open as far as for beaches. They said it's probably gonna be another year or 2 years before that happens, but it's looking a lot better. At this point, they're putting erosion mats down along the beach to prevent this erosion from ever happening again, or at least reducing the likelihood from it. But it was just crazy going from, if anybody knows about the Causeway Islands, they were like such a fun place, to hang out, to fish, to grill, to cook out, watch the sunset. Our church used to do an Easter Sunday sunrise service at this first Causeway Island. So to go from that to just a massive construction zone and like a war zone was very, very, very humbling. It was very, very hard to watch for sure. This was one of our neighbors' homes. They had posted on an app talking about how they had an electrical fire mid hurricane and they were still there, and they had to swim out in the surge to get away from the fire. And they actually, the grandmother of the family had passed away. She'd gotten swept away by the water. This is what our home looked like after all there's the trucks, those dang grabber trucks. We put all of our stuff out in front, and then they cleaned it up, which was amazing. It was so great to see that all get taken away. And this day was amazing. In November, that was our first day of having power. I got to turn the power back on in the house, and that was just incredible. This is where all that trash would go. So you'd put the trash out on the road. The grabber trucks would come, and they would then dump them at various sites, and they were huge. I had friends help me out with picking up our house and our neighbor's house, and then the signs, all these various signs that people would leave out. It was so sweet. It felt like such a cool community. But then you'd get some areas, you're just like, oh my gosh, what in the world? Some areas, this was 2 months after the hurricane, and still looked like this. But thankfully, the city came and hired people to come out and actually clean up a lot of the trash from the vegetation. God bless them for doing that, because they were going deep into the trees picking up this stuff. And also people volunteering and stuff too. I tried to clean up as much as I could around our neighborhood. Yeah, more signs. This was down by Santiva, right on the way towards Captiva. That's the Lazy Flamingo. Ah, yes, this house. This is crazy. So at this point, I had only gone fishing a couple times. I went once with my buddy Sunshine on the beach, and then I'd gone in a kayak a handful of times. But I went out towards Blind Pass, and this was a home that I found in the water. It had gotten washed off its foundation. There's no, buildings around here, so I had to come from somewhere pretty far. But it was crazy. Look at the cups. Look at the bowls. Everything's still stacked the way it was pre-storm. I was astonished, and just super, super like depressed and sad about this. My heart ached for these people, whoever this home was. Look at the mattresses, the beds are still there. They're still in place. Like it felt like just flashback in time. It was just so crazy. And more signs, encouragement. This is very interesting. This wasn't by us. This was in Fort Myers Beach at a restaurant there. Um, Goes to show you the power of storm surge. The boat had actually gotten wedged into the dock, and the owner left it. He didn't want to move it, and so it's still there, wedged up against the dock. Which is pretty interesting, pretty cool. So this is what our home looks like now. 2 years post hurricane. Vegetation looks great. It's all grown back, which is a huge, huge aspect of everything. Once that greenery came back, it just made everything look so normal again. But since then, we've gotten the electricity, we've gotten the water, we've gotten the power, we're back on the house. Um, we're just so thankful. And yes, hurricane seasons are going to come and go, and there may be more hurricanes in the future. But um, even though it was a horrible experience and it was awful, um, me and our family, we were really thankful that we endured it, because of the lessons that it provided. You know, um, trusting in God and leading on our faith and not on ourselves when we have no control. Um, seeing who really reached out and offered care and love to us, and becoming closer and growing closer with our neighbors, um, with our community. This community will never be the same, but we'll always be super tight knit together because of this event. And so we're so thankful for that. So, and I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you guys so much. I know this isn't a fishing video. If you made it this far, thank you. This is 25, almost 26 minutes of going down not a fun memory lane, but thank you guys so much for watching. It's always a blessing to do this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Um, and again, thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys in the next one, okay? Thank God for the day. Love you guys. Bye.